midnight on Sky 2. At 8, Sherm Story. At 10, Cyber Stalker. At midnight, Tough Talk. This is Sky 2.
See how goddamn tough you are after I grab a hold of your neck and make you eat the asphalt?
Nice. Now take it off. I want to see you take it all off now. So a couple weeks ago, I started telling y'all a story the first time I seen somebody die in front of me. And I figure I need to wrap that shit up and let y'all know the conclusion of that motherfucker. Man, blood, that was some fucked up shit, blood. So I remember fucking Uncle Reggie. I was still a youngster, blood, but it was one of them occasions. That motherfucker handed me a cigarette, blood, and lit it up. And he like, here you go, player. Hand me that motherfucking cigarette. So me and Uncle Reggie sitting there smoking, blood. I'm just staring at this motherfucker, blood. I never seen a dead person before. I swear, blood, it was like, I know he was dead at this point, blood. But it was like he was still looking at us. It was like the motherfucking Mona Lisa or something. Like, you look the other way and it's like his eyes was following you. So I'm just staring at this cat, blood. I swear to God, it's like his eyes was glazing over in front of me and shit. And then Uncle Reggie starts talking about what we gonna do. And it was like a fucking pep talk or something, blood. I don't know how to explain this, but it was like a whole nother level. Like, I never really, Uncle Reggie never talked to me like this before, blood. It was different. And he just pretty much laced me up on the situation, what's gonna happen if we don't fucking act right. And it's gonna be all bad. I love my Uncle Reggie, and he took good care of me. And if I don't say what's right, I'm gonna lose him. So Uncle Reggie, he just laced me up on the reality of the fucking situation. And if we don't act right, he gonna be in prison and I'm gonna be in a fucking foster home. So we both just sitting there staring at this motherfucker still. And then the fucking phone rang, blood. You know who it was? It was dead dude's fucking wife. And I swear to God, I never see Uncle Reggie in like panic mode like this when he's talking to dude's wife, blood. But he did pretty fucking good. He smoothed shit over pretty motherfucking good. And he pretty much told this bitch everything she wanted to fucking hear. And from there on, I think he realized the fucking seriousness of the situation even more than before. I don't know. So like I said, I don't know how much fucking time passed, but Uncle Reggie, he formulating a plan. And he figures out what the fuck we gonna do. And we get into his ride and we go out fucking deep. And I don't even know how fucking far we went. It was like 40, 50 minutes, something like that. We went over the bridge and shit. We stopped at some little tiny ass hardware store I never heard of before. And he sent me inside the store. He sent me in there. I had to grab, what the fuck was it? Fucking duct tape, more fucking garbage bags, fucking all kinds of shit. Then he sent me to the sporting goods store. I had to grab dumbbells and shit. And we go in different spots and he just lacing me up. He telling me the situation, explaining things to me, saying, I'm a juvenile, blood. I ain't gonna go to prison for this shit. But he fucking will. I mean, Uncle, he didn't really do nothing wrong, blood. They just fucking partying, having fun. And this motherfucker died. I don't know what to say, blood. But we had to fix the situation. So after we had everything accumulated and shit, we went back to the spot, blood. And dude was still sitting there. And I gotta hand to Uncle Reg, blood. Even though the situation he was in, he tried to be pretty motherfucking empathetic and compassionate to my ass and shit. He didn't make me do most of the dirty work. All the fucking bagging up and shit, taping them up. Uncle Reggie did all that shit, blood. I didn't do none of it. But it was still fucking pretty nasty shit, blood. I mean, the only other part I really had to do with this fucking moment in time was help Uncle Reggie get this fucking look like a big ass plastic log, and get his ass out in the fucking garage and get him in the freezer. And blood, the next day, it was a fucking trip though, blood. Cause I remember Stench came over. We was just doing our usual fucking thing. We in the garage smoking the doobie and shit. And that's where we used to keep all the fucking frozen pizzas. I mean, it was only that motherfucking morning, blood, that me and Uncle Reggie, we had to take everything out that fucking freezer to put that motherfucker in there. And I had to tell Stench, I was like, nah, blood, there ain't nothing in there no more. I think it was the next fucking morning, blood. It was the next morning. That lady was calling again, blood, asking about her husband and shit. And this fucking sent Uncle Reggie into ultra panic mode. He was already fucking paranoid as fuck. And Uncle Reggie doing what he always do, blood, to combat shit. He's fucking twirling, so he getting even more fucking paranoid. And now this lady's calling up asking again about her fucking husband, so we had to do something quick. So I remember Uncle Reggie, he come back home, he got his Bayliner, and I don't know how to explain this, blood, but I didn't really have no issues dealing with dude when he was dead or when he was dying. But once he got in that freezer, it was different. Uncle Reggie getting fucking mad about it. Eventually I had to grab that fool. I don't want to talk about that part no more, blood, but I don't know, blood. But we got that motherfucker in. And it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, because Uncle Reggie, he ain't trying to do that in the daytime and shit, so there wasn't nobody around or nothing, but I don't know, blood. It was a fucking trip though, honestly. So we spent a while, we went over the bridges and shit. We go back to that usual loading spot where Uncle Reggie always had us take our boat out and shit. We go out on our way, blood, and we go fucking deep. I remember Uncle Reggie, he got his little radar thing out, blood. He said right here, I remember how many fucking feet it was deep, blood. It was fucking deep though. And he like, this the spot, this the spot. Out of all the fucking experiences that I had over the last couple of days since this motherfucker died, what transpired here was probably the most fucked up and strangest. Cause when we hit that spot, blood, we hit that deep spot, Uncle Reggie started getting real weird with me, blood. He like, Daryl, I need you to look away for a couple minutes, blood. I need you to look away. Man, I didn't ask no questions, blood. I just did what the fuck he said. I looked the other way, blood. And I could hear a bunch of noise going on, like some struggling shit. I could hear Uncle Reggie making a bunch of fucked up noises. So fucking curiosity got the better of my ass, blood. And I fucking looked over. And I wish I didn't. Cause it was fucked up. Blood, I looked over. Uncle Reggie got this dead motherfucker in a headlock, blood, with a fucking pair of pliers. And he trying to rip this motherfucker's teeth out, blood. And Uncle Reggie crying his fucking eyes out while he doing it too. I mean, it was fucking terrible, blood. Uncle Reggie like, screaming, fucking, why you do this, Frankie? Why you do this? Fuck you, Frankie, fuck you. He's saying all this terrible shit, screaming and shit. I think this was the point where Uncle Reggie just had a complete fucking breakdown. After everything we've been through the last couple of days, I think this was just his way of fucking venting and just letting it all out. But he just started fucking screaming like non-stop. I mean, we was out in the middle of the ocean, ain't nobody gonna fucking hear us. And I think this was just his therapy, blood, but he was just fucking screaming. And he just kept doing this over and over. He'd run out of fucking breath. And he started screaming again, blood. He just kept doing it. So after this, Uncle Reggie like, Daryl, I need you to go in the cabin for a little while. And I didn't ask no questions. I just go in the fucking cabin. I come out like 20, 30 minutes later. And I don't know how to explain what's on deck, but it's like Uncle Reggie got this fool looking like a fucking monster or something. He all wrapped up in chains and fucking padlocks and fucking got weights all over him. I mean, the whole scene was just so fucking surreal, blood. I mean, Uncle Reggie, he pretty motherfucking stoic, blood. See this fool crying like a little fucking teenage girl? It's just unreal. He's standing over top of this garbage bag motherfucker. And he like doing something like what you do to motherfucker they last rites. He's saying some religious prayers and shit. I don't know what the fuck he's saying, blood. Uncle Reggie never been to no motherfucking church before. I don't know if he made this shit up or something. I don't fucking know, blood. But he's saying a bunch of shit. He just sobbing his fucking eyes out too. Then all of a sudden out of nowhere, blood, Uncle Reggie just put his foot on this motherfucker's back and gave his ass the heave-ho and just kicked his ass violently off our fucking boat. Now, I think rigor mortis already kicked in or something, blood, because this fool just fucking flopped over, hit that fucking water. It's like splash. And then he gone, blood. Then he gone. But once this motherfucker's body was off that boat, I don't know how to explain it, but it was just like such a fucking sigh of relief for both of us. I remember behind us, the fucking sun was coming out. We was turning around, we was headed back to the fucking launching docks and shit. And we had a hot minute, just me and Uncle Reggie in that boat together. And we just talked about a lot of shit, blood. And we had a fucking bonding experience. So we out in the water. I don't know if it's because Uncle Reggie just fucking tripped out about the situation or he having problems with the motor or something. I ain't really asking, but like, this cat had kind of like an emotional fucking breakdown. Like, I don't know, man. He said some shit to me I never heard him say before in my life. Man. It was fucking deep. He looked at me, he said, Daryl, I ain't never had no son before, but you always been like a son to me, and I love you, and I'm so proud of you. My bad, I got a little caught up, got a little emotional about that situation, but I mean, it was true though, blood. I mean, my parents was some of the worst fucking people that ever lived, and my dad was a piece of shit. So was my mom, but my uncle was cool, blood. And then he spent a while just trying to explain to me why my parents were so fucked up and evil. He was just trying to make a bunch of excuses and shit. But we never talked about this kind of shit, ever. But anyway, I don't know, I should wrap this fucking video up. Yeah, but I remember we stopped over at Nations off Central in Richmond. And fucking Uncle Reggie, I was like, hey, you mind if I get one of the double eggers? And he's like, nah, blood, you getting that triple. And I remember me and him just chilling in there. Yeah, I better wrap this shit up. But after that experience, it brought us so much closer together that I know this sounds terrible, but I wanted it to happen again. Like any morning I wake up, I see Uncle Reggie passed out on the couch, he got his friends with him. First thing I do is go check their vitals, see if they're still alive. And I did it like out of good conscience, but in the back of my mind, that's not why, blood. In the back of my mind, I was hoping they'd be dead. So me and Uncle Reggie could have an experience like this again. Anyway, thank you for listening. And I'm hopefully gonna have a lot more shit coming out here on YouTube. And I don't know, I think I'm done with TikTok, blood. There's no creativity anymore on there.